For this he must go down into the pit. For this he must invade the dolorous vast, imperishable and wise and infinite. He still must travel hell the world to save.
And this Sri Aurobindo talked about quite a bit in his books. And he says that what is meant by hell is a painful passage through the vital or lingering there, as for instance in many cases of suicide, when one remains surrounded by the force of suffering and turmoil created by this unnatural and violent exit. I think I've talked to you about Utkata Karma also, so we've covered that. So this is very important that he tells us these things. So necessary for us. He had to do this. He had to do this, and most of the great yogis had no interest in this. When they reached moksha, liberation, there was no need for them to come back. They were perfectly happy. It is only for the first time that Sri Aurobindo said, you have to come back and work for the earth. Okay, we'll go on.
Into the eternal light he shall emerge, on borders of the meeting of all worlds. There on the verge of nature's summit step, the secret law of each thing is fulfilled. All contraries heal their long dissidence.
Okay, now I have to get to the next page. Just give me a second. 451, right? Yeah. Yeah, he obviously, the, was it 451 or 450?
The last two lines of 450 and first two of 451.
Yeah. When the divine comes down, as Mother says, um, he changes everything in the earth nature because we have to rise to that next level of spiritual planes of experience. And Mother says that from that point of the transcendence, all creation doesn't come from the supramental. The supramental goes into the overmind, and the overmind does all of the creation. I didn't know that before. Ranga taught us about that. So here we see that the secret law of each thing is fulfilled because Mother says it doesn't matter what human beings do. Oroville is going to be built in the divine way. And so I never look at negativity or violence or any of these things. Yes, it's painful in this body suit that I'm wearing to see these gigantic trees cut down by the secretary's people, where there was no need to cut them to do the Crown Road. And these are trees that are maybe 70, 80, 100 years old. Just cut them down. All contraries heal their long dissidence. Dissidence is a disagreement. You wanted to say something or continue reading?
No, I wanted to ask what dissidence is, and you said it before I asked.
Okay.
There meet and clasp the eternal opposites. There pain becomes a violent, fiery joy. Evil turns back to its original good, and sorrow lies upon the breasts of bliss. She has learned to weep glad tears of happiness. Her gaze is charged with wistful ecstasy.
So we have the first line that you read. I would say I'd read it a little bit differently. There meet and clasp the eternal opposites. Want to try that? Not their meet and clasp, but their meet and clasp.
So is he talking? Okay, okay. Is he talking about a particular place with there? So, or is it? I was reading it as there meet and class, like there in the place. Is that it? Or I think I misunderstood that.
Well, if we beat it out in iambic pentameter, their meet and clasp
Meet and class.
eternal opposites.
Okay. There meet and clasp the eternal opposites. Their pain becomes the violent, fiery joy. That's
So we
is
see
that it?
now these opposites, these eternal opposites that seem to be opposites, begin to join completely as one in the overmind. Even though there's still two, they're united. But in the supermind, there's no difference. They're one. The eternal opposites in the supermind are one. So they meet there and they clasp. And even pain there becomes a violent, fiery joy. And Sri Aurobindo tells us that pain can be blissful also, if one is in the right consciousness. Evil turns back to its original good. So in the overmental consciousness, evil turns back. And even sorrow is lying on the breasts of bliss. Wow. And sorrow even has learned to weep glad tears of happiness. Her gaze is charged with a wistful ecstasy. Wistful is a sadness about something that has passed or something that is impossible. Do you have any questions on these few lines?
No,
So
no.
let's go.
I Yeah. I thought she was the Divine Mother, but now I understand she refers to sorrow.
Good. Okay.
Then shall be ended here the law of pain. Earth shall be made a home of heaven's light. A seer, heaven born, shall lodge in human breast. The superconscious being shall touch men's eyes, and the truth conscious world come down to earth, invading matter with the spirit's ray, awaking its silence to immortal thought, awaking the dumb heart to the living word.
Oh, a lot to cover here, so we'll go slowly. Um, Sri Aurobindo is giving us here a preview of what he speaks of in Book 11. Because in Book 11, he lays it out completely. All that's going to happen to humanity, how the higher is going to lift up the lower, how the life divine is going to come down on earth. So we'll be very happy when we get to Book 11. So for now, he's giving us a little teaser, a little preview. So we see that, of course, the law of pain is going to be ended when the supramental is much more powerful. It's powerful in a way, it's assured of its status on the earth, but it has to gain more strength. All the love is there, all the peace is there, everything. It just has to gain more strength. I think I told you about Mary Helen's experience with Sri Aurobindo being 2 feet high. Right.
Yes.
So we have that idea now. So earth shall be made a home of heaven's light. Now, this seer is very interesting. A seer, heaven born, shall lodge in human breasts. And is that seer Sri Aurobindo, or is it the divine? It's not a capital S, it's a lowercase s. So a heaven born seer shall lodge in human breasts. I feel that is the soul or the self that Sri Aurobindo talks to us about. That is immaculate, immutable, unchangeable.
Yes.
And then he has a semicolon after the word breasts. The superconscient beam shall touch men's eyes. See, he's already giving us quite a heads up on what's going to happen. And the truth conscious world come down to earth. Truth consciousness is the supermind, for sure. He often calls it many different things, you see. He says in Letters on Yoga, the mind is ignorance seeking for the truth. The supramental, by its very definition, is the truth consciousness. Truth in possession of itself and fulfilling itself by its own power. So we're clear on that. The truth conscious world is going to come down to earth. It's going to invade matter with the spirit's ray. Now, this is an interesting line because invading here is penetrating almost forcefully. To invade another country is go into it forcefully. So why does it have to invade matter? Can you tell me?
Because the nature of matter is in consciousness. It's
Very. That's good. Yes, matter is tamasic. Matter is the last thing that wants to move upward. I mean,
yes. Is it unwilling? Is matter unwilling?
Yeah.
It's opposed to the light?
Unwillingness is tamasic.
Okay.
It doesn't want to move. It's perfectly happy where it is in the inconscient. But you see, when I just read a poem by Harendranath Chattopadhyay, where he says, there's a potter and there's clay. The potter takes the clay, which is formless, just a mass of clay. He takes it in his hands and he makes a cup or a dish. He's giving form to the formless. So, Sneha's calling me, that's okay. He is giving form to the formless, but in Haren's poem, the clay is unhappy because previously it had one little flower growing in it. And he says, you destroyed me by creating something. I wanted to be formless with that little flower. Beautiful poem. So we see that matter has to be invaded with the spirit's ray. It has to be. And then what do we have next? Awaking its silence to immortal thoughts. Awaking the dumb heart to the living word. And of course, the word is capitalized here. It's the sun word or the great word. It's the sound expression of the idea. And it has to be realized. Now, we can do creation by the word because the divine has already done it. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light from the Christian Bible. That is creation by the word. And Sri Aurobindo is giving us such a clue here that this dumb, this silent heart is going to wake up to the living word. So we have only 2 minutes, so maybe you should read from the beginning.
For this he must go down into the pit. For this he must invade the dolorous vast.
Dolorous.
Dolorous vast, imperishable and wise and infinite. He still must travel hell the world to save. Into the eternal light he shall emerge, on borders of the meeting of all worlds. There on the verge of nature's summit steps, the secret law of each thing is fulfilled. All contraries heal their long dissidence. There meets and clasps the eternal opposite. Their pain becomes a violent, fiery joy. Evil turns back to its original good, and sorrow lies upon the breast of bliss. She has learned to weep glad tears of happiness. Her gaze is charged with a wistful ecstasy. Then shall be ended here the law of pain. Earth shall be made a home of heaven's light. A seer heaven born shall lodge in human breast. The superconscient being shall touch men's eyes, and the truth conscious world come down to earth, invading matter with the spirit's ray, awaking its silence to immortal thought, awaking the dumb heart to the living word.
Perfect. Only a little bit more concentration on the D of and. We tend to skip over that sometimes. A mistake. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.